Activation code required. Access granted. Warning. Evacuation sequence activated.
We're back. Welcome to the bunker.
Go ahead.
And welcome to the S-4 Bunker, coming to you live up here in the, well, kind of cold Cascade Mountains.
Oh, eat a dick. It's not that cold.
It is
fuck
nice.
off.
Oh
This
my God.
morning you were all like,
Today?
I'm freezing.
It was nice during the day. It was like in the 50s during the day. That's great. But then it drops into the 20s and 30s at night. But anyway, coming to you live here in Concrete, Washington. And tonight we are talking about coal. We're talking about the terms and acronyms of the paranormal. But why are we doing that?
So here's the deal. Every week we seem to get new listeners. Thing is, we have no idea who you are or what you do. We don't know if you have any experience with the paranormal or are completely familiar with it. Last week we had on two guests, my wonderful parents. And honestly, if you could see their faces through some of this, it was quite entertaining for me.
Right?
But you could tell they were confused by a lot of the terms we used, including ones that we don't think of as confusing, like EVP. Or pareidolia. We don't think of those as confusing. They are an everyday term for us.
Pareidolia. That's right. They're completely baffled by that.
Yeah, like almost every paranormal term that we used was confusing for them. Because it's not something they hear every day. So for our new listeners, we would like to go over and explore some of the paranormal terms that we use almost every day in all our
Without even
lives.
thinking about it.
Without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll gain some knowledge out of it. If you don't, well, screw you. Brad. Yeah, that's right, Kayla. Screw you. Brad.
And while he's screwing you, don't forget to run over to reaperapparelco.com and check out their awesome hoodies and mugs and bumper stickers. And don't forget to use S4 Bunker for your promo code.
During checkout. And just so you know, if you can type while you're being screwed, that is a pretty good, like, that's talent. I'm just saying.
Oh.
It's been a long time, so I can't comment on what the modern kids do, but yes. Back then it was the electric. It's the electric typewriters. That
was the last time you got screwed?
Typewriter had 3 D-cell batteries.
Yes.
No, it had Baghdad batteries.
Holy shit! You just had batteries?
They had an electric typewriter. So.
I don't think I had batteries in mine. But, oh, wait. Yeah.
That was called the chisel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, wait, we're the same age. Ass?
I said what I said.
Yep. No, that was a pocket knife on a tree.
Actually, you know what's messed up?
What?
I have 355 days left of my 30s. That's it. That's fucked up.
I remember those days.
Ew, old balls.
Oh.
Really?
So
everyone says you're older than me?
Shut up.
older than dirt.
I don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, backwards need aliens.
So where do we start?
Friend, well, we
Don't everybody
I'm trying to decide whether to go alien or haunting first.
Let's go haunting first, because we always talk alien.
So the first thing, I guess, would be ectoplasm.
Ectoplasma.
And that's that gunk that comes out your nose when you're sick, and it's green.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
pretty much, but it's the ghost equivalent.
Yeah.
Oh.
Slimer from Ghostbusters.
That'd
Would
be
be
the one.
considered ectoplasm, right? So there.
Yes. So it's a residual material. Baby shark, calm the hell down. Fred, I will let you talk later. Right now, it's my turn. Fred, it's a residual material left over by spirits.
Has anybody...
I do not know who first coined the term. I do know that it was popularized by Ghostbusters,
Right.
the movie.
Do you want to go into a little bit of the history of the... because there was factual information that was brought up with Ghostbusters.
Yes, so, what are those called?
Classification.
The classifications of a haunting. In the movie, I believe it's Ray, that states in the first scene in the library what classification of a haunting they had.
Oh, that was a class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that term was actually first coined by Dan Aykroyd's grandfather in his diaries, his journals, that he used during his paranormal research in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
So it is actually considered, like, even though it became popularized by a movie, it is still a term we use today for any classification of a haunting that you see.
So you know, I know y'all just love your paranormal TV shows and shit, but no, Taps did not create it. No, Ghost Adventures did not create it. It actually came from Dan Aykroyd's grandfather in Ghostbusters. It drives me nuts when you have these modern Zach Bagging crap that try to take credit for.
And I'm not sure what Aykroyd has actually done with the journals, whether they're on display somewhere or not.
Probably
I want
in a
to read
museum,
them.
honestly.
Friend, it's a possibility. The whole family grew up in Ontario, so it could be in a museum there or
In New York at the
Firehouse.
yeah.
no. Firehouse is now a restaurant, I believe.
Oh.
Friend, that's
Is
an
it You Know
expensive
Nothing,
frickin'
John
building,
Doe?
guys. Like, come on. What do you expect?
What?
That's an expensive building.
Yeah,
Right.
no joke.
That is prime
Yeah,
real estate
yes.
in Manhattan. Like,
Yeah, which always made me laugh when they're like, "Oh man, this is like the cheapest shit we could find," and I'm like, "Do you know how expensive that would be now?"
yeah, but they were in New York, so it
Well,
would
yeah.
still have been the cheapest place. they
Okay,
could
whatever.
find.
Still, should have.
Somebody
So-
must have had family money, so because there was no way they could afford that building. Even back in the 80s, they couldn't even run down as it was. There was no way
Try.
they could afford.
If I remember right, they actually listed a price, Rick.
Oh, they didn't they? God, it's been 100 years since I've watched it.
I
Oh,
want to
it's
say it was
time
like
to binge watch.
$2,500 a month.
Wow, that's reasonable.
Well,
Yeah,
in the 80s.
Not really, because the place was about to be condemned. So,
So to clarify,
Hold on. I got something I got to clarify,
what's up?
because the whole Dan Aykroyd grandfather story kind of raised my hackles, because I didn't think that was right. So I looked it up. Ectoplasm means something formed outside the body. And it was first used in 1894 by a researcher named Charles Richet.
Yeah, I
I
thought
don't
it
think
went
that was
back.
Dan Aykroyd's grandfather.
Not the
You weren't
ectoplasma,
listening.
the classifications.
The classifications of a haunting.
yep, the class
Those
one,
were
the
coined
class
by,
twos.
but both terms were popularized by the Ghostbusters movies. Do you understand?
I'd heard about it long before Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I did too. However,
But were you both in the field already?
popularization of it was not really until the Ghostbusters movie. I mean, it was talked about.
So it doesn't count unless it's popular?
No, it counts, but it's
Popular
not.
back in 1800.
Yeah, it wasn't hardcore popularized in our timeline until the 80s. But I didn't think that it, because there were women in circles doing seances, God, really far back.
Oh,
I mean,
1920 is with the Fox sisters? Or before them?
It was before them.
Okay.
And it was real quiet. I remember that. Now there's a school in England. I don't remember the name of it, but
Hogwarts.
they've got the documentation. I mean, they've got a serious amount of documentation. And they teach people with abilities, as does an.
Oh shit! You're talking about the not the Fortune school, but the school
You're
of
on the right
psychic.
track.
The School of Psychical Research. I can't remember the acronym. Again, it's an acronym, but I can't remember the. But yes, it's the School of Psychical Research out of England, I believe, is the one you're talking about.
I think that's right. It's been so long since I've heard the name, I couldn't tell you for sure.
I get emails from them
I just know it's
on
there.
occasion.
And they're still going.
Right, and they actually teach telekinesis and psychokinesis and
They do all of it.
yeah, all the clairs, which we'll get into later on.
But the goo that manifests on this side, yeah, that goes back a while.
Yeah, but
Thank you, Joe.
No,
what I mean is like popularized in pop culture, meaning everyone now knows that term.
So if Zach Bagans uses the term from way back and popularizes it, that means he invented it?
I didn't say invented, Joe.
Oh,
I said it was popularized.
Petard.
Did you not hear me? First of all, listen to the fucking conversation if you're going to try and correct something.
Popularized.
Yes. How hard is that to fucking understand?
Oh, I get it. I'm just letting you ramble.
So you're wasting fucking time. Great.
So EMF is electromagnetic frequency, and that is basically anytime you watch your ghost shows, they got their pretty little EMF meter, or their oh god, what's the other term they use? The K2s, the come on, Nikki, help me out here. They got K2 meters, they've got just regular EMF meters, they've got, and what's interesting about a lot of the tools
K2s
they use,
and stud finders.
yeah, well, it's all the same
EVPs,
shit.
proximity meters.
So you, okay, we'll get to the proximity meter. That's a whole other animal.
Then you got the press boxes.
But what's interesting is a lot of your ghost hunting tools you can go down to Harbor Freight and get. You can go to Lowe's and Home Depot and
Build your own.
you can build your own. But
Multimeter.
the point is, a lot of the shit they use on ghost shows, instead of going to I don't know your local paranormal store and pay $60 for an EMF meter, you could go to Harbor Freight and get the same thing for $5-10. Because all it does is show electromagnetic frequency, which can be done. It can be reflected by old wiring. It can be done by bad breaker boxes, old batteries. So a lot of your tools show mundane reasons, not just paranormal. But they always like to jack up. Go ahead.
Actually, really, that's actually really true in the sense of there's so many things that we use in buildings, structures that are used in the paranormal. It just really depends on what you want to use. The other side to that is that you're dealing with paranormal, you need to find out now this goes to a whole other side of it, but you need to find out if it is electrical, if it is cross wires, if it is a magnetic issue. Then you're dealing with a completely different gambit of things that are not metaphysical. It's in the physical, and you've got electrical issues or magnetic issues or ground wire issues that all need to be dealt with.
Yep.
So it's real important to figure out what the hell it is that you're dealing with, and that's one of the reasons why it's so easy to use different things that most people have around their homes.
And I think what disturbs me too is how many of your paranormal investigators are aware of that, and how many of them tell your clients, yeah, you might have an electrical problem that you might want to get the fire department, one, to investigate it, as well as get the electrician here before your house catches on fire. And it wasn't a ghost that did it. It was your house. It was your wiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was...
Yeah, but Eric, we've seen all the shows. It's better for ratings. If they're holding a multimeter or a K2 and they go, oh, look, the light blinks, that means there's a ghost here.
Uh-huh. No, I know.
You know, I mean, it doesn't mean that.
That's why they classify those shows as for entertainment purposes only, quote unquote, for entertainment purposes only.
But
and
you ask 9 out of 10. You ask 9 out of 10 people that watch those shows how many of them believe them, and you'll find 9 out of 10 of them believe them.
That's gullibility.
Yeah.
It really comes down to the I want to believe syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, people want to believe, but they don't want to follow through with how does this actually take place? How does this work? And that's the sad part of it. But yet, if you follow through and do a little bit of research, you'll find out there's a plethora of information out on the web. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, granted, not all of it's valid, but, you know, you got to figure out what is and what isn't. And you'll see there's a huge plethora of information. So,
another tool that you can get at any hardware store that a lot of paranormal investigators will use is your digital thermometer. The one I always liked was had a dual readout, shot a laser across the room, and it actually showed you a difference in temperature if something was going on. That's usually caused, and I'm trying to think of the scientific explanation of how spirits will pull the energy away from the environment they're materializing in, which can cause either a drop in temperature or a raise in temperature. But on the flip side of that, you might have a heater duct over here that's blowing hot air, which is actually raising the temperature or dropping the temperature. You know, whether it's an AC unit or... So there's a lot of variables you have to look at. But again, these are all tools you can get at a hardware store, not just your local ghost shop.
Well, there's a reason they're at the hardware store.
Right.
Okay.
Well, then you got to look at the plumbing factor, too, because I come from a plumbing family. I mean, I was raised into a plumbing family, and I mean, just you got to look at where are the pipes grounded, because if not, you got some serious issues that can create hot and cold spots on a wall.
Right. Right.
So you know, I was raised in this family business growing up to where it's like you gotta learn real fast to find out if it's your house. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's always electrical. It can be plumbing too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the same with the vibrating and the creaking and the groaning. Sometimes it's your hot and cold water pipes.
And you've also
Especially
got the
considering the
issue
age of house.
Yep.
Yes. Then you've also got the issue of, do you have, like in the house that I lived in for 12 years, we had a kind of like a draft, but it wasn't you have one door open and another one in the basement would slam shut. That's not ghosts. That is a form of circulation, air circulation in a very specific way. And you have to know how the air circulation flows in your home. There's all these factors to it. So it's not just an issue of, oh my God, I've got ghosts and I've got paranormal. No, check everything out first.
Yep.
Do the logical, science-oriented type things before you automatically go to ghosts. You got to rule everything out. You have to think with a critical mind when it comes to this stuff. Critical thinking is key.
Critical thinking's unheard of unless you, well, we won't even get into that.
Yeah.
So, moving along, we have the EVP. You see it on all the shows. Oh my God, I got a Class 2 EVP or a Class 1 EVP. Electronic Voice Phenomena. That's what EVP means. I think the most accurate, now everyone goes to high technology and they love the digital communication devices. They've got, I like the good old fashioned cassette tapes personally. And always use a clean brand new tape because, believe it or not, you use already recorded over tape, you're going to get unusual noise from them sometimes.
And you get playback.
Yeah, you get residual. You can have residual, especially if it's like second, third recording. You can get bleed through.
Exactly.
Yes, recording on through. So yeah.
I think so. If you want to look for accuracy, a real good investigator is not going to hold the device. He's going to put it on record and put it down on something.
Yep.
The ones that are holding it, there's what's called a thumb rub. And a lot of your fakers out there will actually rub their thumb on the microphone. You won't see them doing it, and they'll say, "Oh my God, did you hear that? It was a thump," or it was yeah. No, take your recording device and put it down. Nothing's going to be around it. You can't have any faked evidence. What can? If a director is rolling a rock across a room or some crap like that. But, you're going to get more accurate
this
recording.
is the exact reason, and not trying to go off of the EVP stuff and everything, but that I don't like what they call ghost boxes. Okay? Because they just run through radio frequencies and all of that kind of stuff. But you're just going to pick up people's voices. That's
absolutely.
Different radio frequency. Like, if you scan through your frequencies this way and that way, you're going to pick up a sales ad somewhere or something of that nature. Because that's what it is.
Okay, I'm going to counter that. I agree and I disagree. There are specific... I don't like regular voice spirit boxes.
Well, and I mean, especially the ones that you download, like apps.
Wait. We'll get to spirit boxes. That's a whole other conversation. Right now, I'm just talking about EVPs and just your basic ask the question. You're not going to hear nothing right now. You might. I mean, I've actually heard audible voices from nowhere, and that was at Northern State.
I don't go there.
Oh, Northern State's it's fun. Anthony wants to go there, and yeah, he's one of those ones you've got. He's an 11-year-old. You have to prove it to him. So yeah, go to the Dairy Barn. The Dairy Barn's actually kind of fun to ask questions at, because we actually that was a whole different device that we were using. We were using the puck. which I don't entirely trust the puck, because to me anything that can be manipulated from the outside, from Bluetooth or whatever, I like getting away from that. But the puck to me was cool because we did ask it. We were in one of the stables and we asked it what it did, and the word cow popped up. It's like, that's kind of cool. So were you a milker? And I mean, it carried on somewhat, because the part of the puck we were using, it had a vocabulary of words that popped up at random to communicate back with you. And it made sense. The words that was sending made sense to what we were asking. So the puck is cool, but again, I don't like devices that can have internet interference, because you have too much. There's too much gray area that can cause distraction or. No. That's why I love the Conjuring movies. Apps. Yeah, that's where the apps come in. And we'll talk about that in a second. I want to bring up the Warrens, though, because I think the Warrens were great with the Conjuring movies, how they showed the old 1970s and 1960s way of doing paranormal investigation, where they actually took talc powder and would sprinkle it on the floor to look for footprints. They strung bells on... they used old school techniques with bells on string. That's your old fashioned proximity meter right there. I like the newest proximity meters too, though. Although, yeah, sure, they can be manipulated. But if you put a proximity meter, so to explain this device a little bit, there's one that's made for kids, and there's one that's made for adults. So the device that's made for kids plays like lullaby songs. You put it in the middle of a room, you walk away, and you talk, and you ask questions, and you ask the spirit to touch the light on the proximity meter. If it's a one made for kids, it'll actually play lullaby music. So we were at an investigation in Canada at 7 Mile Ranch. Is that what it is? 3 Mile Ranch, where David is.
100 Mile House.
100 Mile House. That's it.
I was gonna say I've
3
been
Mile
to
Ranch.
I've been to the ones you're talking about. Dave's farther up than that.
No, it's a 100 Mile House, and
you said 100.
Yeah, it was at the I can't remember the building we were in, but it was at a museum, and I had the proximity meter in front of me far enough to where there was nothing outside touching it. And we were talking to a kid, and the kid kept touching it, and he was having fun. And the mother of the spirit child, she was also a ghost, or a spirit rather, she put her kids to bed at 10 o'clock every night. Man, you could tell when the kid was supposed to be going to bed, because it stopped. At 10 o'clock it stopped. And so, yeah, so that's a proximity meter. Proximity meter, the old school version would be the string with the bells, and that's to detect if something's coming through that you aren't necessarily seeing. Let's see. Spirit boxes. So the SB7, the SB4, they numbered all their different models, I guess, and it stands for spirit box. And you want to go into that a little bit, Nikki, because I think you're more familiar with them than I am. We didn't use spirit boxes or nothing a whole lot in our investigations.
Well, spirit boxes, like what Kayla was talking about, are a very different animal in... Sorry, that's my phone. Giving me notifications of something. Anyway, so ghost box, spirit box, same thing. They're very basic. Just like what Kayla was talking about, they deal with certain like AM, FM frequencies, radio. You go up and down the different channels, and it picks out different words, and supposedly spirits can control those. Now, here's where I really differ on this. There are the very basic ones, and then there are ones that I know people where they have them built specifically for them. There's a person I'm not going to name because I don't know how S-4 Bunker feels about this person, but there's a person that I have known in the past really well, who has dealt very, very well with spirit boxes, ghost boxes, and he's pretty much the only one that I trust when it comes to spirit boxes, because the stuff that comes through on his boxes are damn accurate. And it shocks me because the other ones that I've heard,
Bill,
Crap City.
You're talking about Bill Hauser, and he makes his he modifies his and actually builds his special.
And he has them. He has them built for him as well. There's a gentleman out of England who builds certain ghost boxes for Bill, and he pays them and sends them to where he lives. So he's really the only one that I trust with spirit boxes, because to me it's done right. I have worked with Bill on a number of occasions, and wow, the amount of information from real spirits and entities. You've got to be careful, because when you open, it's like dealing with a Ouija board. Only this one is more, the way Bill does it, it
opens doors more.
Yeah, it opens a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And Bill knows how to deal with it in a professional manner, as well as in a quality manner. Well, whereas a lot of other people don't, and you get this mixed bag of stuff. And when I hear him use it, you got real ghosts. I'm sensing the ghost. I can tell you if it's male. I can tell you if it's female. I can tell you how old they are. It's real. The other ones, Crap City. I mean, it drives me nuts when I come across where somebody sends me, and I do get frequently sent, or I used to, not until this past year, so it's kind of calmed down a bit. But I used to get frequently sent YouTube videos of people doing ghost box sessions.
Right.
Because a lot of people know that I'm interested in it. And it drives me nuts, because I'm like, that's a wannabe demon. They're playing in as a, they're playing the game, and stay away from that shit. And then you've got all this radio crap, and I'm like, no, none of that's real. And it drives me absolutely up a wall. And so the one that that I've relied on in the past has been Bill Hauser, because his stuff is quality. There's a specific way he does it when he tweaks it, and he knows how to tweak it just fine. He's got his own abilities. It's something that I've really never talked with him about, but he's got his own abilities, and he knows how to deal with this. And so, but normal ghost boxes, you gotta watch your back, because just like what Eric had said, you're opening doors, and it's, in my opinion, on many levels, it's on the same genre as dealing with a I got a brain fart going on. I can't think of the name of it. A spirit board,
Ouija board.
Ouija board.
Thank you, Ouija board. And so you're opening all these different doors, but with a ghost box, you're opening vast amount of doors.
And that's my big pet peeve too. Is you see it in all the different paranormal groups. Oh my God, no, don't use a Ouija board. It opens a gate to hell. No, you know what? It's no different than your damn spirit box. But, under the same breath, they'll say, I don't use a Ouija board, I use my spirit box. Well, you're doing the same shit.
You are doing the same thing. But with both, you have to be careful and have to know how to close things down.
Absolutely.
And that I appreciate. Bill knows how to close things down. And that's what gets me about a lot of these people that are hardcore newbies in this, or even the ones that have been doing it for a long time. They're, for whatever reason, not recognizing different aspects of it. And it's like, dude, I just want to slap the crap out of them. Because it's like, you don't know what you're dealing with.
When you say that you open the doors for other things, okay, I've heard of a specific person opening the door and being able to talk to certain ETs,
right.
And other entities that wouldn't necessarily be considered ghost realm. So, if we're working off of that assumption, that do you think it's because of the frequencies, or do you think that it's because of the basic person, or?
I think it's a combination. In my personal opinion, I think it's because of the combination of the different aspects of it. Yes, it's part frequency. But at the same time, ETs that are in a different realm, they're not likely to use, in my opinion, and from my experience, they're not likely. It's too low. They don't want to be at that. They don't want to be at that really low frequency.
Okay, but wait.
Would rather be
I know for a fact aliens have used spirit boards because I've heard it. There was a.
That shocks me, actually.
No, there was
high frequencies.
There was a woman that went weekly for a long time that used a spirit box, and actually heard a very audible voice that came through that said, "We are right over you." And when they looked outside, there was a UFO hovering over her house. And I've heard this on a few different occasions. So I do believe that, off-worlders can
Do you know
actually.
What race?
No. This was several years ago.
Do you know what kind of ship? Was it a?
It was a circular.
Was it a circular?
Yep.
Oh, I can't remember the name of them.
No, there's a lot of different races that use circular ships.
Yeah.
So I don't remember which race at that time it was. She didn't know either. She just knew this was the same race that came and visited her several generations of her family. So it was probably a gray. More than likely.
Probably.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
So just looking up different terms, and because my memory sucks of what we've all used on a regular basis. Friend. Yeah, like those. Friend. But have you guys ever heard of, hold on a second, now I have to look again how to say this. Zamyevu?
No.
No. Hang on a minute.
It is the opposite of deja vu.
So
It's
explain.
when-
I know deja vu is where you feel like you've done it before.
Yes.
What is deja vu?
A feeling that a familiar place or situation has never been experienced before.
Huh.
I have never heard of this. That is kind of awesome.
So, like walking into your own kitchen and feeling like it's the first time you've ever been there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Is it
Interesting.
sounds to me like a form of amnesia? But
51st States. Isn't that the movie that Drew Barrymore loses her memory every 24 hours? So she gets to the end of the day and then she wakes up. She can't remember.
Groundhog Day.
Or getting drunk or stoned.
Yeah. Well, he can remember, though.
Oh,
Like, if you got drunk or stoned, it's the same thing.
right.
You walk into the kitchen, you're like, I've never been here before.
Now,
This place is cool.
It's your
is it
house.
somewhere as familiar as that, or is it somewhere like maybe you visited when you were a kid several times, and then you go back as an adult and you're like, I don't feel like I've ever been here, but I know I've been here.
Well, it's not
one of those
just
type
places,
of things.
it's situations too.
Oh.
Something you've done.
So I want to clarify too. Years ago, there was this big argument in the paranormal field that, oh my God, it's got to be science-based, or we got to use technology, and psychics. No, psychics are just the woo factor. You don't ever use a psychic in an investigation. And then it kind of shifted to where psychics were more and more accepted and used.
Well,
you remember that, Nikki?
Yes.
About the mid-90s. About the mid-90s, it was more psychics all suck, and you can't ever get an accurate investigation with a psychic.
Yeah, and then you had different news articles against certain psychics.
Right.
Wow.
That is fun.
I blame a lot of that on Miss Cleo, though.
Yeah, because
if you call her, a guy should not answer. That's bullshit.
Well, everyone believed Sylvia Brown for the longest time until, she told the family that their daughters were dead and they needed to move on. And then come to find out the daughters have been held captive in a basement and tied up for years. And so nobody was looking for them because Sylvia Brown said they were dead. And then they escaped.
That's just what I was going to comment on, was there are psychics that everybody expects a psychic. Here's the two sides of things. Everybody expects a psychic to be absolutely 100% spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't work like that.
Nope.
And people expect it to be like that. Just because you have psychic abilities doesn't mean... Now, I'm not defending her. I'm not disassociating from her and all of that. But what I am saying is that there are situations to where we're not always right. And that happens to everybody at some point in time, whether they make it a career of, out of their lifestyle, no matter what happens.
Well, at the heart, everybody's still human, and we make mistakes.
Right.
Yes, we do.
I was told
that is that we go into different. You read things differently, and the information given to us by the other side, there are specific reasons why we are not supposed to be shown certain things. And let me tell you, as a psychic medium, that pisses me off no end, because there are things that come down to there's a timing factor. Joe needs a call back. He got booted. Internet thing. Anyway, so there are situations to where we are told, or not always told, but there's a timing factor to things. There's an issue of this has to happen before that can happen. And history, the future history, can change due to numerous factors. And so when things change and shift in our future upcoming history, those things that we have talked about are not going to happen. For example, there was an earthquake in August of 2020 that was supposed to happen. It was a gigantic earthquake that was supposed to happen. And I got repeatedly told for every day for 2.5 weeks straight, the date, the time, it became the timeline, it's shortening down, then it became the date, then the time frame, approximately where in Washington State it was supposed to happen, and on another section of the earth where it was going to happen. And it was so intense that they were bothering me in my sleep, everything. They were wanting me to get the information out. I got the information out And I'm like, this is a major earthquake. I don't know what the heck this is all about, but something is being done to where it triggers, and whatever stopped it. So it didn't happen.
Well,
so there are things like that take place. Now, I knew that the earthquake was being triggered by something, I should say someone, or a group of someone's specific. That situation got taken care of, and it didn't happen. But at the same time, when I mentioned this in front of Keith on 2 occasions, 2 very distant occasions, he had talked about, wait a minute, when was this again? And I told him August. It was supposed to happen in August of 2020. And on one of those occasions, he had said, I had talked to, and he calls her a specific name. I call her Mother Earth. And he calls her by her given name, calls Earth by her given name. And he had stated that there was a lot going on with her, and that she had calmed things down. And it made sense to me. I mean, it's more than just that, but it made sense to me because, but at the same time, I also know that the individuals that were causing whatever issue were stopped. Mm-hmm. And were stopped for a specific reason. So there are things that happen in our future that shift and change to where those things don't happen. The thing with Miss Brown, that is a different ballgame altogether.
Absolutely.
Completely different.
Well, so I think one of the major issues is, like you said, everyone expects a psychic to get it 100% right.
They expect us to be perfect.
Yeah, and a lot of that culture came from those stupid freaking TV and phone psychics that weren't real.
Yeah.
That you paid $5.99 a minute for.
Right.
Yep.
That actually said they guaranteed their service.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep.
Well, but no one understood what that meant. Just guaranteeing your service, that means you'll actually get a reading. That you're guaranteed to get a reading. Doesn't mean that reading's going to be correct.
No, not even that. It means your phone will actually connect to my phone.
Yes, and your money will come out of your account and into my account.
And Robert says 80 to 90% is about your accuracy, but I've heard from other psychics too that it's usually between 50 to 60.
Well, I think that also depends on the person.
It does. You brought up a perfect point. You can make the perfect prediction. There's always going to be factors in the background that could alter that prediction.
Yeah. Did you know, Nikki, though, that we did have an earthquake in August of 2020?
No, I didn't.
And it was a weird one.
It was really weird.
Now, wait a minute. We had a 4.0. I do know we had a 2.5 or 2.8 and a 4.0.
We had one tomorrow, didn't we?
I'm not talking Washington.
Okay.
I'm talking within the United States. North Carolina had one at 5.1.
Oh yeah, I did know. I did hear about that. I had friends on the East Coast that were picking up that they were supposed to have one all around. It was all in August of 2020, and they had an unusual one, but it was under 4.
This one was the second strongest in the state's history and the largest to strike the East Coast since the 2011 Virginia earthquake. It wasn't supposed to happen. And it was only 7.6 kilometers underground. We dig that deep.
Yeah.
Like, could be considered man-made.
Could have been fracking for that matter.
Mm-hmm. That's yeah.
North Carolina, I don't think it's going to be fracking.
No,
they don't really frack.
No, I think it's going to be drilling for soil samples for mines.
Okay.
Friend.
Mine samples.
Are we going to try to get Joe back?
We've already tried several times. It keeps dropping.
Okay.
Let's try one more time.
I just thought I'd ask because I know that he goes through the phases that I do with the internet issues.
Right.
Well, he didn't live out in the middle of it.
Joe, quit moving.
Stop walking around.
I'm trying not to.
It's called a chair.
Don't nod your head. Don't do anything.
Anyway, moving along in the psychic world. Because like I said, in the mid '90s, it was always frowned on. Oh my God, you've got psychics on your team. You're not going to have anything accurate because the psychics are going to screw it all up. And then later on, closer to I think around the 2000s, is when you actually started seeing more and more psychics or mediums that were actually more integrated in their teams. And to me, the perfect investigation, the perfect team is the one that actually integrates technology and matched by the medium or the psychic with a completely closed or a dark reading, where you go into a location with no knowledge and what you describe completely parallels your EMF meter, completely parallels EVP sessions, things of that nature. If you can actually have your medium come up with a name and you have the same name come up with a medium out of the location on an EVP session, you have and you match out with historical readings, you have a perfect case.
Okay, no, I hate saying this, but I really think that the reason that, well, like we had talked about in the 90s, there was the whole Miss Cleo thing, there was the whole Brown thing, there was a lot of stuff against psychics in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the early 2000s, so like 2005, I believe, is when it aired, we got the TV show Medium. Okay?
Yeah.
A lot of people started believing a lot more in people's ability after that show started airing. And they did. Well, because we got Medium, we also got the Long Island Psychic, we got
Dead Files.
TV shows that...
Ghost Whisperer.
Thank you. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Medium and Ghost Whisperer.
Right. We got all of these shows that showed a psychic in a better light.
Right.
Than before.
Involved with the paranormal.
Because those specific shows had real psychics behind them, giving them information.
Right. And that
two psychics, I regard in high esteem because they're quality.
Which one?
Right, and this is Alison Moubier and what's her
James Van Prague.
James Van. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for not saying the other one because I hate that one.
So that's the thing, though, is I think that seeing the actual effects of what it can do for somebody's team, what the ability, if it's actually there and it is on par and everything else, what you can actually get out of that versus where everybody in the 90s was going, oh yeah, it's a chick with a big old thing on her head going, hey, call me for your reading. Okay? That's all people saw at that point as psychic. They didn't look at the other aspects of it.
Right.
What real ability is versus I want to make a bunch of money really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And before then, it was a carnival act. Like, it wasn't...
I think
they saw it as a sideshow.
Well, yeah, and what pisses me off is when you have a paranormal show that claims to be education, or not education, entertainment only, but actually goes to real people's homes who are actually having issues.
Yeah.
And destroys it. You know? Well, screw it, I'll just say it. Dead Files. Dead Files came to Concrete.
Oh, I hate that show.
They came to Concrete.
And terrified a family.
And they terrified that family. And to the point where they were getting death threats and threats from the fans of the show because they didn't listen to...
Seriously?
Yes.
And they're not supposed to release the address or anything, And the day after they got done filming, there were already cars going by taking pictures of their home. This is a location that is just down the road from my house. And when I reached out to, I can't remember the guy's name from the show, and told them we are already established here, we can give you a hand, was pretty much told, screw you.
They don't.
This is anyway, because I actually thought they were here to do a real investigation and whatnot, but no, they destroyed that family.
They did. They did some really horrific shit to them.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki,
Yes, dear.
do you have any pets?
Not anymore. My beloved Max cat passed, and he was my paranormal cat. He used to see the ETs come in. He used to see the ghosts come in. He's the one who brings them through my apartment, actually.
I'm still looking at paranormal terms. He was an animal PSI. We need to find you. Our mission is now to find Nikki a new pet.
Okay.
Fran, the apparent ability.
Honey, you're going to be in a small category of people who have been looking, and if I do that, I want an animal that can handle the. I'm not ready for that yet. It's been 2 years, and I'm slowly getting back into the. I kind of want another animal. I've had.
She needs.
All my life.
Nikki,
she's a ferret.
Trust me, you're going to want this.
No.
I'm not looking. I'm not looking at normal animals.
A ferret.
No.
No.
Wait, what is it?
We're going to look for alligators, kangaroos.
Raptor. He's going to get you a raptor.
There you go.
A wombat.
There we go, a wombat.
Hey, Robert, we need a wombat.
Nikki and her paranormal wombat.
So an animal
Like,
PSI is the apparent ability of animals to exhibit psychic powers such as clairvoyance, telepathy, and even psychokinesis.
No, that's a witch's familiar. What are you talking about?
I didn't even know my cat was telepathic until before he died. We were taking him to the vet because he was in the process of dying. He was in the process of going out. And in the car, taking him to the vet for one of his last checkups and seeing just how much longer we had with him and what the options were. And he shocked the hell. He'd been with us for, since he was about 2-3 years old. And he was 1920. So he'd been with us for a long, long time. Never once was he telepathic with me. In the car, on the way to the vet, he goes, I want to die at home. And I'm in the passenger seat. My hands, a person's driving to my left. I nearly hit him and the steering wheel because I literally put my arm straight out and went, what the hell was that? And I turn around and it's Max and he's looking right at me. And he's saying, he's telling me this again, I want to die at home. Don't leave me there. Wow, we got really, really telepathic and had quite the conversation. It was a very short conversation. And that was the only time that he was ever telepathic with me. And it just blew my mind.
I think if we got you a kangaroo, he'd be telepathic with you the whole time.
You're not getting a telepathic kangaroo / wombat.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, a wombat. There we go.
Now apparently, Nikki, we're breeding for you.
I think so.
Hey, she got to thinking though. She got to look for one now. Craigslist.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
It'd be kind of messed up though. Like if you did crossbreed and had the body of a kangaroo.
A cat or a dog is just fine. Can't do a horse. I've had horses in almost every lifetime I've been in, except for this lifetime and my past lifetime.
Oh, that's it.
I don't have the place for it. I don't have the funding for it.
Plus,
we're
those assholes think they know
you a
everything.
miniature donkey. I like it.
Oh my god, they're more stubborn than a than a horse.
I know.
We got to back
But they
up.
come in mini form.
We got to back up
Yes,
real
they
quick. And I want to bring up tarot cards and pendulums real quick. Oh, and dowsing rods. Because I get asked, I've gotten asked over the years, what's the difference? How come tarot cards and pendulums are any better than, or safer than Ouija boards and spirit boxes?
Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
None of them are any safer than the other one if you don't know how to use them properly.
So no, absolutely. You always have to. You always have to use cleansing. You always have to use your. The hell.
Hello.
You always have to use. You always have to use
Joe, wake up.
protection when you're doing any kind of work with Ouija boards and whatnot. Anyway, but when you're dealing with spirit guides or guides that are all right.
Oh,
Who
that's
is
the
that?
dog.
Is that the dog?
That's the dog.
Yeah.
Sounds like you.
Somebody's wrestling.
Yeah, I was just
I think
saying.
that dog's humping his leg.
I think so. I think Joe's enjoying it.
Or eating his phone. One or the other.
Hubba hubba.
Jesus Christ. We joked
I'm
about
gonna have to mute her.
cross-breeding. Don't do it.
Okay.
Where were we?
Anyway, tarot cards comes down to the ability. Cards are just cards. It's a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Scrying, you're using. In scrying, you're using your energy. Same thing with tarot cards. You're using your energy. So it all comes down to the person's abilities and energy that they're doing. Whatever it is that they're. I suck
Question.
at tarot. Everybody freaking know. Hang on a second. Everybody freaking knows that. I make it no bones.
Right.
Give me a set of oracle cards, and I hear from the other side how many to shuffle, where to pick from on the deck. I mean, all of this. But I go to touch a tarot deck, and I'm like, ugh, no, it just doesn't happen. So it comes down to the person's abilities. In scrying, you're using your physical energy as well as your because you're holding it and you may not be moving it, but it comes down to your vibration, your frequency, and
Right.
if that thing that you're using to scry with, that medium that you're using, because it could be a form of a amulet, it could be anything.
Whether it's
crystal
amethyst
has its own
or
energy.
whether it's amethyst you're using or rose quartz you're using, or you're using the properties of the stone along with the pendulum. The way it was explained to me too is you're using a higher vibration spirit guide when you're using tarot cards and pendulums, whereas you're using Ouija boards and you're going a lower vibration where any door can be open.
But I've never seen a tarot card reading done. Okay? So how do you start?
It.
Do you shuffle the deck?
Yeah.
How many times?
Yes.
You shuffle the deck till you're told to stop.
Okay, so here's the
Or
thing.
you're told how many times.
By who?
Spirit guides.
Usually your spirit guides.
So is it not possible for a negative energy to tell you to stop once
Yes.
the deck is in there?
Oh, it is.
But you have to recognize who your spirit guides are and their energy. Yes, an entity can try to force you to deviate, but your spirit guide, especially if they're a main spirit guide will take control of that entity and kick it out. Especially when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, they've got
That's
some
where the
serious
energy comes from. That's where the
force
vibration
energy
comes
in.
from.
Because I would
Yeah,
say
so
that a
you
good
feel
percentage.
the energy.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
you feel the energy of your spirit guide and you resonate with them. And usually when an entity comes in to try to screw with that frequency, that energy between you and your guide, it is very, very hard to recreate that energy of that guide. It is very difficult. Okay, who's being the smart ass? Somebody saying not as difficult as you might think. Okay, so
Can I
that was based on. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I interject on that one? Because I have a thought form there. So
thought form isn't good either.
In the earlier on, Ouija boards were considered the danger.
Right.
Right? By the layman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because they came out as a toy by who was it, Parker Brothers or Hasbro? No.
Hasbro made the
I don't remember.
Hasbro.
Okay, so yeah, you can buy them in any store. The thing is, now tarot cards are being bought as gifts for laymen, laywomen, and lay. But you know what I mean? Like for the every person, they are considered an okay gift now. So we have brand new people who have no idea what they're doing with these, trying to do their own readings, who have probably never interacted with their own spiritual guides.
No.
Could that be the new danger one?
It probably not, but it'll be made that way. It'll be presented as that way by the.
Could that be what that spirit was talking, like in a way, what they were talking about? That it's not as hard as we think anymore because they are becoming a gift for everyone. Like 90% of these boutique stores.
For everyone, I'm curious because I really don't know, and someone here will. A regular deck of playing cards, I was told one time, corresponds to a deck of tarot cards. One came from the other, or whatever. Like
yes,
really,
right? Because
your Eight of Cups,
your Jack Queen, your Jack Queen, King, and Ace could be seen as the major arcana, versus the they could be. I actually saw somebody using Skittles for a reading. Yeah,
Skittles.
Taste the rainbow.
they did. So you could use, if you have the right, if you have the gift of using of sight, essentially, you can use anything for a reading. I think what you're seeing now is tarot cards turning into a novelty.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
any boutique.
I haven't seen that. What are you seeing this at?
Friend, almost every mall has an area now. Like, you know those calendar stores or kiosks that they used to have?
I can't find my witch's calendar in any damn kiosk anymore.
Oh, really?
Bellas Fair Mall now has a store that sells that stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the witch's store, though.
No, it's Sultan.
It's Sultan Earth Song or something, isn't it?
No,
Sultan things, but like...
Sultan Pest.
They have candles that are supposed to smell like your zodiac sign.
That's stupid.
Apparently...
April stinks, dude. April stinks. I was like,
yeah, Aries was gross. Lots of freaking sandalwood.
That's honestly the way I see it. That's what you could call New Age. A New Age is you've got New Age and you've got pagans. Pagans actually practice where New Age dabble.
You know that super big mart right across from 7-Eleven? Gas station?
Yeah.
Right in there.
Okay.
They got a whole shelf full of different tarot cards.
Well, yeah, people are after that shit. They're after incense and candles and that's...
But the problem is they don't have them that are after it. They're just getting into this stuff. They got into it because of COVID, half of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And they don't know what they're doing.
Well, I mean,
we're lucky Ouija boards didn't go on sale during freaking COVID.
Divination tools have been used forever, though.
Well, they have been.
Before all of that, before the Ouija boards, before
honestly,
people read bones. I mean, it's just... whatever it is of the time that's.
But let me explain. A witch doesn't need toys. It all comes from within. What we use toys for is for focus. So yes, you want a perfect example. You want a prosperity spell. You can envision it in your own. But that green candle, that peppermint oil, that bill being envisioned paid, simply focuses that energy that you're pushing into this prosperity spell to materialize faster or materialize easier.
Right. I'm just saying that, like, if we want to really go back in time, we go back all the way to like Samaria and Scotland, all of these like ancient cultures.
Roman times.
Okay.
Look at the Romans.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. We go back to any of these ancient cultures, and there were their own forms of divination. Like they found
Nostradamus in his bowl of water.
That's
right.
But also look at Nostradamus was seen as a heretic. A lot of them were.
Oh, he was classified as all sorts of things.
Yep.
Yeah, no joke.
But he was also doing, in order to increase his abilities, he was using what we now call as drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
And, to be perfectly honest, there's a lot of, like, third eye experiments that have to do with different drugs and LSD and all kinds of, like, before that it was milk of the poppy, before that it was, like,
mugwort.
There's all kinds of drugs that are also associated with spiritual visions.
Drink your mugwort tea. What happens?
But
we did in Iraq.
Peyote.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, native culture, you got peyote, you got all kinds of different things.
We
had look at the Amazon cultures, they do the frog rub with the fermented fruit thing.
Yeah, I have new.
Yeah.
What did you say?
What?
You say frog rub?
Yes, it's a frog rub and a fermented fruit, and it's mixed together with the spit of their people, and then when you drink it, it causes visions.
The Simpsons were right again. They lick the frogs.
It's amazing the stupid shit you'll find in some of these magic shops. They'll sell coffin nails and they'll sell Florida water. Yeah, okay. Really? I'm going to go buy some Florida water? No, I don't want to die today. Thank you very much.
Did you guys in the U.S. ever have a cigarette brand called Coffin Nails?
No.
We did.
Not that I remember.
We had one in Canada.
Oh, no.
That would be Lucky
That makes
Strikes.
sense. Okay.
Two people put milk in a bag, so that's not saying much.
Hey!
Anyway, moving on.
Wrong with that.
Let's talk about UFOs, USOs, and UAPs. So UFOs. What's a UFO?
Unidentified flying object.
What's a USO?
Unidentified submergible object.
And what's a UAP?
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
So, we actually talked about this, last year or a couple years ago now. Why would they make, what's the difference between a UAP and a UFO?
Everyone got the last one wrong.
What's that?
That is not what a UAP is.
Aeronautical.
No. It is a bullshit tax write-off for the government.
Say that too.
It's a way for the government to talk about flying saucers without bringing up little green men.
Well, there's a little bit more to that. When the military comes up with an acronym like UAP, it opens up a budget. They say we're going to have a UFO investigation. That brings up cultural. That brings up the nut jobs to them. You bring up UAP, it opens up black budget projects because it becomes a military acronym instead of using a civilian acronym. That's the only reason they would make UAPs instead of UFOs.
Well, and creating that acronym for at least a few more years, you don't have 90% of the people, searching under that name.
No.
You don't have the stigma of a UFO.
You still have them searching under UFO, so they can still get away with a lot more.
But the thing is, they've privatized so much of it. You can look up UAP, and you're not going to find a government document about UAPs like you will.
You're going to find something from SpaceX.
You're going to find something else. Because the classified UAP bullshit is going to be over here under SpaceX. For example, SpaceX is probably, well, who knows. But
okay, I have to admit, I was watching TV the other day.
Oh my God, no, really? A documentary, right?
It was a documentary.
Uh-huh.
But I saw falling asleep? My first recruiter commercial for Space Force. For Space Force? for the U.S. Space Force. Okay? And it was like talking about, if you want to do engineering, if you want to go places unseen, blah, blah, blah.
You
and it was like, join Space
like
Force.
Potatoes?
In Burlington, they've got the Space Force posters now at the recruiting office.
Yeah, and I thought that was actually kind of interesting because it reminded me of like my days back in school when you used to always see the recruiting for the Navy and
they're going to show them
the Army and
as Starship Troopers with Starship Trooper guns and everything. Join the Space Force. Well,
SpaceX tweeted last week, the Ark is ready.
The Ark?
It's done.
Of the Covenant?
No. It is one of the...
okay, so they just made like Noah's Ark, but like in
mission
space.
to Mars.
Oh, to take all the rich people.
Supposed to actually land on Mars.
Okay.
The entire ship.
How many people is it going to hold?
Unmanned.
Oh.
Unmanned.
It's the Ark.
Oh, you said Ark. I was thinking all the rich people are going to get in this Ark and go to Mars.
It
and
contains DNA from every animal.
Huh?
Save us
DNA
for
from every animal.
Okay, you know what? This is how we end up with like the movie Alien.
Right?
Okay?
I know, I'm so excited.
We take a bunch of DNA, we shoot it into an atmosphere that we don't understand, and we just expect it to all be peaches and cream.
Nikki
not a damn thing is going to live from that. This is how Jurassic Park went wrong, guys.
No,
yeah, but you guys keep saying I can't have a raptor, so I'm getting an alien.
What do they say? They say life. Hey, baby.
T-Rex is going to tear up Mars.
Baby, you already have an alien. Anyway.
Yeah, but I want one
oh my God, no.
There's a difference. I want one that spits poison, not bullshit.
I can't get that out of my head now.
But seriously, like, how fucking stupid
Alien
is that?
Pornhub?
Oh my God. They have that. It's called tentacleporn.com. Okay, but see, this is what I'm trying to figure out, though, is how do we think that these are good ideas? That we're just gonna shoot a bunch of DNA.
He said Ahab and left.
He got abducted.
Was he calling me a white whale?
Did you say Ahab or they have? I'm so fucking confused right now.
Joe, did you refer to me as Moby Dick and then hang up the phone?
No, Joe got abducted. And they took the phone. He was talking too much.
Joe! Did you say Ahab or they have?
God.
But did you say Ahab or they have?
What? Alien Pornhub?
They have. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Alien Pornhub. You can look up alien porn.
You have too much time on your hands, Joe.
He's got the Bigfoot porn from last week.
Oh, good God.
Interspecies erotica. God.
Well, you know, they do have talk shows where they come on and talk about their wonderful ghost sex and their wonderful
it's
alien
called Jerry
sex.
Springer.
No, Jerry Springer went away. This is new shit.
Steve Wilkins or something. Okay, but seriously though, shooting DNA up into space and expecting shit to not go wrong is the dumbest thing I have ever fucking heard of. And whoever did that is a moron.
But
yeah,
he's
that's
not
you,
making
Mr.
the
Musk.
same mistake all the movies made. No humans are going with it this time.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But
just robots, right?
Just Wesley Snipes in a cyber, Yeah. Frozen.
It's literally ran by the guys here. That's it. They're like, it's going to sit there, it's going to land, and stay there.
Oh, I feel
Okay, so
much
what happens
better.
during that first electrical storm when it fucking puts everything out?
Then it's
Kayla's
all
right.
useless.
I'm just
It's
saying.
all useless.
You're putting way too much. You're not thinking this through. This is a stereotypical horror movie in space.
Exactly.
There will
Okay.
be kind of weird storm because we lose landers on Mars all the time anyway. So it makes it there, crash land, stuff gets exposed to the environment. Yes, 99% of it dies. It's
What's wrong, Nikki?
Survive.
Right.
They can be about the size of a house,
Right.
and we send to investigate, and they get eaten for the rest of whatever time. There's one lone survivor that blasts in space to come home.
And that's where the fucking mantids came from. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
Okay?
wait, Sigourney Weaver's too old to go up and rescue everybody.
Oh my god. Okay, has nobody seen Ghosts of Mars? Okay? Has nobody seen Pitch Black? This is
did?
all bad ideas.
Who's gonna
I've seen Pitch Black. Oh.
Who's going to replace Sigourney Weaver? We don't have
Who's
anyone
gonna replace what?
Sigourney Weaver.
Riddick.
He's pretty
He's-
fucking old, too.
He's too fucking old, too.
Right? But no, it'll be fine, guys. The new SpaceX uniforms are red. So,
Oh, good God, seriously?
Oh my god. Okay. Seriously, algae.
You know, I was just
algae
thinking
grew
before
on the
we go
space
I
station.
just think that if you go to Reaper.com, maybe they'll come up with a shirt that says, "Don't shoot your DNA into space."
Yeah.
Whoa.
That is a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Only from the S-4 Bunker.
to be fair, we've done it a few times.
They don't need to know about these.
I'm not even going to touch that one.
No, Scotty's in space.
Huh?
What's the...
Yeah, but they're all cinders and ashes.
Not all of
I
them.
thought you were going to talk about
There are still
astronauts
bone fragments
masturbating.
in there.
Oh yeah.
You do not want to take a black light to that International Space Station. Some of those people have been up there for a year. What do you think's happening?
Hey. What a man does in his own bunk
DNA in
is
space.
his own business.
Yeah,
That
but
can't
can you
happen
imagine-
in space.
Hey, wait,
Stuff
hey,
flows
Joe, what's all
backwards.
that shit floating in the latrine?
They all
never
get a
mind.
funnel.
Just never mind. Just don't touch that stuff.
They all get a funnel.
It smells like baby
Why do you
corn.
think they call it the Milky Way, guys?
When they're not doing the science stuff, they go into their bunk and they rock one. That's the way it is.
Oh.
How can you rock one in zero gravity? You wouldn't even know which way was up or down.
I'm a
Kayla?
guy who could figure it out.
Yeah, I was just about to say something. Like, guys have been doing this since we
Well,
were
you know,
cavemen.
it's funny, but I'm sure it's happened by now.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
those toilets have a lot of
There's
suction.
males and females up there, and
There has to be some kind of protocol for that we're just not told about.
Oh, can you imagine the
Yeah, but
vibration up
okay.
there?
dinner.
All right, what I'm trying to figure
You
now,
remember-
if
you
you were
remember
to
the-
actually get pregnant in zero gravity, though, then would the baby
possible.
even be able to form?
Yes,
I mean, the radiation.
Well,
would-
you don't
But it-
think they've tried to figure that out?
couldn't come
Yeah,
home.
somebody
And we
has.
don't have a way for it to come to Earth yet.
Right, because the gravitational differences.
Yeah.
Sorry, ma'am. You're stuck up here for 9 more months.
No, it wouldn't be 9 months. It'd be the entire kid's life.
Like,
Oh.
the only way they could think of is to let it become a
Well, we
fully
can have
grown
those guys
human in
man the
space.
station.
Yeah, like,
Why do you think they have
well,
the
except for
Energizer
isn't there only like
commercial?
4 more years?
Cole, why do you think they have the Energizer Buddy commercial on the moon for the vibrators? I'm like, yeah, come on, they had batteries on the for vibrators
What?
up there, right?
That's an obelisk.
I don't think they get to take vibrators.
JT had to. What is
there are other
female-
instruments I'm sure they figured out how to
There's
use.
female astronauts up there too.
That is not what the Canada arm is for, guys.
Oh my god. okay. No, but seriously. Okay, so we have had algae grow on the International Space Station.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep,
on the
space
outside
It's on
of the International
tardigrade.
Space Station.
It's on
Yeah.
tardigrades growing on the outside of
Right.
the windows of the station.
Joe,
Right.
can we get a definition of that?
Tardigrade, a really little teeny tiny animal.
They're the little ones that
You
look
can look
like
them up online. They call them water bears.
Okay.
Yeah, they look like little pigs, but they're teeny tiny and microscopic. Actually,
It's like a little six-legged pig wearing a spacesuit.
yeah,
Little
actually, they
fuckers
look.
living rent
They
free up
kind of
there.
actually
Right?
look more like manatees than anything else. Like if you were to expect like a tiny little microscopic manatee floating around, that's what a tardigrade looks like.
Ew.
Huh.
But
They survive in the vacuum of space and the heat and the cold and all that.
so I mean, it's not that we don't have life out there, and it's not like it can't grow out there, because obviously it is. They've found algae, they've found tardigrades, they've found different plants and different species of plant life that can grow in massive things that we can't even think about. Like it was what, 15 years ago or something, that they found the little species that lived in the volcanic vents.
You are just proving my point here.
What?
Sending all that DNA up there, gonna be fine.
Okay.
Maybe that's how we got here.
See?
It's a
Maybe some other
possibility.
civilization shot an ark full of DNA and it landed on Earth, and then
Then all of a
Bada
sudden,
bing, bada boom.
humans.
Friend.
I think you know we got Chuck Berry.
And Cocaine Bear. Oh.
And Cocaine Bear.
That was the worst fucking movie ever. Oh
Yeah,
my
seriously, worst movie I've ever seen. Hands down.
Which
Friend.
one?
0
On my list, I
stars.
haven't seen it yet.
0 stars.
Joe, you're going to be so disappointed because you actually do go outdoors. This was made by
Well,
someone who's
I'm
never
not
been
going.
outside.
I'm not going to go into that movie thinking it's going to be great. And I'll probably watch it 4 or 5 times. Maybe go buy the DVD or something. I'm going to watch it for the fun.
Yeah, but I was hoping for a Revenant-style carnage.
And it was more like Ash of the Evil Dead carnage. Okay.
Oh man!
What part of the
Yeah.
trailers led you to believe that it was going to be anything other than a bad comedy?
Yeah.
I need you guys to watch it, and then we can talk more because
Because
There
you'll
are gonna be other
understand once you
disappointing
see it how fucking stupid that shit really is. Okay.
I heard it was based on a true story.
it is. It is.
Vaguely.
Okay, but
Yeah, vaguely. Vaguely. The original book,
Cocaine
That was
exists
written?
and bears exist.
no, there actually
Yeah.
was a bear that ate cocaine.
Yes.
it
But
just went a
it
little
wasn't
bit crazy
anywhere
and then it
near
died of an
as
overdose.
Fucked up as this is. But the whole story of them transporting cocaine that way into the United States, that's completely true.
Yep.
But all
And
of
they
the
did
weird
lose a
gore
shipment and it landed in the mountains and a
cocaine
bear
berry
went
and-
haywire.
that's not.
Ooh, how about cocaine water bears in space?
I want to see Cocaine Squirrel.
We saw that. It's Ice Age.
Nikki, you know you want to see that too.
No.
Oh yeah, the guy with the nut.
Yeah.
Actually, imagine do I want to see that?
Like, I'm sorry, but they've made that. It's scrap, dude.
I want
Anybody
live
want to
action.
take a guess on what the Sci-Fi Channel is going to run for their version of Cocaine Bear?
Meth mouth bear. You better look out. He'll gum you to death.
Meth head bear.
Cocaine Bear
Meth
NATO.
head bear. It breaks into a meth lab and it goes out and fixes your truck.
I think it'll be Cocaine Bear NATO.
Ooh.
It's okay, though. It's okay, though. Because I wouldn't be as scared of meth bear. They wouldn't have any teeth
Well,
to
you know-
bite you with.
Well,
You know,
that,
I just wanted to throw in there that I kind of miss the old style meth heads. Those are the guys that would stay up all night long and figure out how to, like I say, fix your truck with some baling wire and 3 nails and a pair of vice grips.
Right, you're
Yeah,
talking
now
about,
they're-
like, the meth MacGyvers.
Yes! Yes! What happened to all the meth MacGyvers? Those guys were great.
Okay, back to the topic. How about extrasensory perception?
It's perceptions, but with your extra sensories.
So ESP is essentially where you can pick up, and I'm not going to say voices. I don't think ESP is necessarily voices, is it, Nikki?
ESP?
As much as thoughts.
ESP can be. Well, no. Okay, mediumship is voices. Mediumship is a form. I know you're asking something different, but mediumship is the form of where you're actually hearing. It's a form of telepathy with the spirit. It can come in different ways.
Real quick, too, I want to ask you what the difference between a psychic, a medium, and what makes a person a psychic medium.
Okay, psychic is a number of abilities kind of rolled into one. I know a number of people that would disagree with me on that. That's fine. Mm-hmm. This is my take on it. Psychic is when, so it's a sensory, ESP, extrasensory perception. You're perceiving different forms of sensory abilities, or different forms of sensory information. That's the word I was looking for.
And that's where the clairs come in, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, that's where the clairs come in.
And we'll talk about the clairs here in a second.
Okay, so a psychic, you have numerous different forms of abilities. You can receive downloads. You can downloads from, I mean, it can be a wide range of things. You can have past information. You can have future information come into you. It's a form of a sense, a literal sensory, and how you perceive it.
ESP, correct me if I'm wrong, ESP is essentially what they call your spidey senses.
Yes.
Where the back of your hair, where your hair comes up.
Very low-level stuff, like you're sitting in a bar, everything's fine, everyone's getting along, and all of a sudden the hairs in the back of your neck stand up, you look around and say, let's go.
Yep.
Now there's no voices raised, no people are fighting at the time, there's no arguments, basically nothing looks like it's changed, but you don't know why, but you just say, I've got to get out of here.
Yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And the second,
is that just like a low level?
Yep.
Now
everybody has that. Everybody has that, but it's how well do they pay attention to it?
Right. Basically, like, people will call it their gut feeling, or they'll call it their Yeah. Everybody to a degree has this. They just need to develop it and actually think about what it means.
Well, and the more you find, the more you fine tune it. Not only to develop it, you pay attention to it. You focus all of your energy on that feeling, and that's really how you develop your
going against it.
Senses.
If you have a gut feeling about something, if it's a really strong gut feeling, always trust that first gut feeling you have, because 90% of the time that's going to be what it is.
Yeah. You've got the precognition part of it. I mean, there's so many different aspects of the word psychic. It's so all-encompassing that's one of the reasons why I have a hard time calling myself that and being called that, because there are so many. I mean, you hear the words, I'm looking at psychics and divination, you precognition. You have all of these different aspects all rolled into one. Mm-hmm, and it completely depends on how you view it, and what your abilities are. And I don't really like the word abilities, but yet it fits. I've yet to come across a word that really surmises it any better. they are abilities. They're skills that you have automatically. It's just
and you hone them.
Yeah, you do. And that comes with age. That comes with experience and time.
Yeah. I think the best movie that actually explains the Claires, believe it or not, was Rose Red.
Yes.
Rose Red really goes into the definition and the abilities of the different Claires. Because when he was looking for the perfect team to go basically shut the house down, he was looking for the clairaudient and the clairsentient and the clairvoyant. And so the clairsentient, I believe, is the one that smells.
Yeah. Hang on a minute.
No, clairsentient is feeling.
Feeling. Okay.
And that's the feeling. Yeah.
The clairvoyant has almost all of them wrapped into one.
Clairvoyancy is seeing. Clairaudient is hearing.
Is hearing.
Yep.
Sentient is feeling.
Yes. And sensing. Feeling and sensing.
Which one can touch a doorknob and have a picture of who touched it?
Claircognizant.
Cognizant. Yeah, that's it.
Is knowing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's always fun.
Yeah, so that's your Clairs.
No, because there's Clairgust. There's Clairgustant, which is tasting.
Okay.
And then there's Clairlyscient or Clairlyscient, which is smelling.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you got a whole list of subsidiary Clairs that go into specialty areas of each of those.
And then you have telepathy.
Right.
And then so I have all of them. I mean, every one of them I've ever come across, I've got all of them.
Now, for me, the word that you were saying, abilities, right?
Yeah.
I like to use aptitudes.
Well, that's a good word for it. Gustin, clear gustins. That's the tasting one.
Okay.
They're changing the term channeling. That irritates the shit out of me. Channel. Okay,
on the tasting one. If somebody licks the doorknob, will they know who touched it?
Oh my god, that's so disgusting.
No, to be perfectly honest,
the wine
best
that
way
a spirit was drinking before they died, correct?
No, the best way to really describe the tasting one is okay. So let's say you take a bite of a fresh baked chocolate chip cookie, okay, and it takes you to a feeling that person had at that time that they ate what you were eating.
Okay, I'm going to tell you another one. I'm going to tell you another one. When I have different spirits come talk to me, I can taste. If it's a female, I can taste the perfume.
Okay, so you taste their essence more than anything.
Yes, well, and if they've got body odor, not only do I smell it, I taste it.
Ew.
If they have been, so for example, one of the things when one specific grandfather shows up, he sometimes has a scent of boding, like old-fashioned boats, wooden boats that have marine, like a cedar. I want to say a cedar boat. That's not the right wood, but anyway, certain kind of wood, and it's got a marine glaze over it, and you can smell it, but you can also taste it. You've also got the fishing aspects with him, and so sometimes I will taste or have the scent of the taste of the fish on my tongue, or his fishing tackle had a very specific scent to it, and so I will actually taste that on my on my taste buds. I mean, there's no other way to say it. If I have somebody who used to be a smoker or a cigar smoker, I will taste the cigar smoke or the cigarette smoke. Let me tell you, that's not fun. But if it's a good cigar, not a problem. But so there are different things. Or if I have a spirit who is a crime victim and that's how they died, then I will have like what they had. I will taste what they had for their dinner or just before they died. And I'm like, oh, dude, you had this and this and this for dinner. And they're like, how did you know? And I'm like, don't ask. Long story.
Because I can taste the Brussels sprouts. Right?
It can taste ghost farts.
Yeah, I mean, it gets very detailed for me. There are other people where they just they can smell it.
Mm-hmm.
I smell it, I taste it, and I feel it crawl. It's like it crawls on my skin. It's like a you know how smoke, if you walk through a smoke-filled room, and
you ever got drunk off a drunk spirit?
No, but let me tell you, there are certain spirits that have come by that have that. It's not fun. But you taste what they tasted before they died. Yeah.
Liver and onions.
So there are different things.
So you're happy that you've never met Jeffrey Dahmer.
Honey, I can tell you something. I have met Al Capone. Okay, and Al Capone, when he tried to terrorize me, because he's very specific about certain things, and he likes to scare the female psychics. And I wouldn't put up with it. But one of the things that he tried with me was he was showing me how he deliberately killed specific individuals and or had them killed in front of him. And I would taste the blood. I could taste because it was in the air and he was around it. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. We're going to have a nice little chat about this because you're not going to do this again to me. That's not okay. So, and he got his jollies off of it, but we actually get along now because I set some rules and some boundaries and he's abiding by them, which has not been fun for him, but he abides by them when and if he comes around me now, but which is about once a year, maybe twice a year, but that's beside the point. But that's how some spirits, one of the ways is he liked to fish and put people in the water while they were handcuffed and then chum the water and have the sharks eat them while he's shooting them. And I could tell you all sorts of stuff. But anyway, so I would taste the chum, and I would which is really disgusting, and I would taste the blood of the human that was being shot, and I could taste the salt water and the other, and I was just like, yeah. So there are many different aspects of abilities and quote unquote gifts and whatever you want to call it. So you get, if you're psychic, you can have images in your head. You can, if you're a medium, you can have the auditory, you can hear them. It can also be words being projected, however the spirit is choosing to project into your mind. If you receive that, it's all about how the person individually receives. There are so many aspects to this. One of the ways one of the other abilities that I have is I can touch electronics, and if it's like an internet connection, I can, in my higher consciousness, and this is a form of a clair. I didn't know this until after I was like, what the hell did I just do, and how the hell did I get here? A prime example of that is I have the ability to, and it has to be in a specific frequency for me to do it. It's not something that I can just automatically do. It happens at a specific frequency for me. And so all I have to do is touch a piece of electronics that is connected to the internet, and if I've got a stalker or a asshat who is pestering the shit out of me, all I have to do is touch the piece of electronics in front of me, and I literally go through the wires. And I come up right, literally, like underneath their fingertips of what they're typing and what they're doing on a computer or on a, I'm going to call it a screen for lack of a better word. But anyway, and there are so many aspects of things. There are forms where people can be, have the ability to manipulate fire. They can have the ability to manipulate the elements, fire, water, earth, even air, or droplets in the air. These are rare. Those are rare abilities. But there are many aspects to the clairs that, and each one is called something different. You'd have to look all of those up. But and then you've got the telepathy aspect of it.
Right.
And then you've got the abilities where
the fire one would be the pyrokinetic.
Yes, pyrokinesis. And actually, I know somebody that can do that and do it rather well. And I know somebody that can manipulate to a minor degree water.
Yeah, that'd be hydrokinesis.
Yeah, so there are a lot of different abilities that are not necessarily talked about. But like with the fire one, you have things like the movie Firestarter with the original Barrymore, who was in that movie, and then they made numerous different offshoots of that movie and a TV series and blah, 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 blah. So there are many different aspects of psychic abilities that get played and portrayed.
Where would automatic writing fall into this? I know. So automatic writing is a form of channeling, but actually writing what the spirit wants you to write through your hand and through your pen. So I don't know if it would be more of a channeling aspect, wouldn't it?
It would be more of a channeling aspect, but it also depends upon the person. Do they have the ability to where they're... Okay, so channeling, the old school version of channeling, and this is where I come from, because the new version drives me up a freaking wall. I want to just smack the person who started the timeline of this new one, because it's so bullshit. But the original version of channeling is when you have a spirit or an entity or a demon or a wannabe demon taking over the body, speaking through the body, and you are literally pushed down into your subconscious so far down you can't get back up until that entity or that spirit releases you. Now, in the form of that happening, the entire dynamics of the body changes. You can have facial differences, you can have body differences like blood pressure. The person may not have been a diabetic before the entity entered them, and they're a diabetic now. I mean, every aspect can change in that person's body. And that kind of stuff has been documented. That is medically and scientifically proven. Now, in writing, automatic writing, it can be to where it's a form of pure channeling, where that happens. It can also be a form of, as I understand it, a form of like what I do, where somebody is communicating, being telepathic, and I'm going to use me as an example, and I'm writing as fast as I possibly can, but I may not have the use of my eyes, and I'm not seeing what I'm writing. That can be a form of it. There are many different aspects of it. The new version of channeling is what they are classifying as channeling is actually mediumship abilities. Which is very different.
Is the new form of channeling basically just a download?
The new form of channeling is mediumship abilities. When the rubber meets the road, that's really what it is. And I've actually had somebody who was a psychic medium, who was also a practicing witch, actually tell me that I was full of shit and that I was book learned, only book learned. And I'm like, no, honey. You're in the new era. I'm Gen X. You're 2 levels beyond that. I don't remember what that is. It's not. I think it's millennial. I don't remember. I'm not keeping track of any of that.
Yeah,
but basically,
millennials
and basically, they're used to the new version of it. And I'm like, this is what it used to be. Channeling, true channeling, is when you get taken over. And
it's one step below possession, really.
Well, yeah, it is a form of possession, and that's where I take real big issue with it, because that's not good for the body. It's not.
You are possessed. You just can't walk around and actually do anything physical per se.
Well, you can.
You can see them.
You can write. You can't walk around. If you can walk, if you can walk around and actually do shit, then you're possessed.
Yeah,
That's how I see it.
It is a full form of possession, and that was the old term of it. There were different things, and you can see from your subconscious and part of your higher consciousness. I'm not exactly sure that the higher consciousness, but I know that you are not in control of your body. You're not in control of any aspect of it.
I just want to clarify the difference between a channeler and someone that's completely possessed. You can't kill somebody as just a channeler. You're only communicating. Correct? Whereas if you're fully possessed, you can kill.
If you're fully possessed, you have no fucking control.
Right, that's my point.
The entity, the being, has full throttle, full control. Now, however, the one thing that doesn't change are fingerprints. Not the metaphysical, the metabolism, everything like that can change. Even some skin tone. I don't mean from going from Caucasian to African American. I am talking about a shift in coloring, but not that dramatic.
So from pale to tan.
Yeah, to like
or pinker.
But there are and there are rosier, or whatever you want to call it. And eye color can change. That's the other thing. Eye color can change. Metabolism will change. All of those kinds of things can change, and the voice will change. So it just depends on
not just the voice,
versus the entity taking over.
Not just the voice, but the way they speak, the wording.
Yes.
I've
What form of
encountered
it's
this
a different
question time.
consciousness. It is a different consciousness taking over the body, and it will become that person.
Trying to be an ass or make I'm not trying to make fun of this in any way, shape, or form, so take that first. But
Okay.
Have you guys seen the movie Split?
Yeah.
No.
No? Okay.
That's
Okay, because that's kind of in that realm of like where personalities can change, where voices and figures can change, where specific pieces of you can change,
a split
but not.
personality, for example, I could see
That's
very
a
much.
different ballgame.
It's a different ball game. Could it be? But it could be seen as a channeling. It can be.
Yeah.
It can be misconstrued as a channeling. Is my point. But it's coming from the same person with a split personality.
Well,
Different personalities could come across as possession, even though they're not. They're not the same.
Well, you look at situations like, and I'm going to name one, like Ramtha, Jay-Z Knight.
Oh no, absolutely. That's where my mind went with it.
That is a full-on channeling situation and full-on body situation. So, but yeah, you get situation, and I'm completely, and everybody thinks quite highly of that person. I'm like, no, I don't want. I'm out. That's where I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that kind of situation. It's different if you're using your mediumship abilities and you're having telepathic communication with whether it's a spirit, earthbound ghost, or dealing, with those abilities, communicating.
Me personally,
and you're being a mouthpiece versus allowing something or someone to take over the body, the physical body. That's a very big difference to me. And based on what I understand, it is a major no-no with the hierarchies.
Well, personally, I see the rompings more as a money grab on the part of Jay-Z Knight than anything. I mean...
I'm not going there on that one, but
I will.
The hierarchies and hierarchy royalties, based on what I understand and how I know it as of right now, and how I've known it for years and years, it is a major no-no on the other side. And with that.
And with that, folks, we are coming to the end of the show. What are we talking about next week, Cole?
Oh.
Huh?
Oh.
Okay. I guess we'll be surprised next week.
I don't think we actually came up with anything. We haven't talked, dude.
No.
Friend.
We'll figure it out and let everybody know.
And just watch the promos, and we'll let you know what we're talking about next week.
Yeah, those will probably go out about 8 p.m. Wednesday.
Sad but true.
So make sure you go to Reaper Apparel Co.com and get your Reaper gear.
That's right, friend. Every time you support them, they support us. So, friend, in essence, you support us. That would be awesome.
S-4 Bunker for your promo code.
Yeah, gets you 10% off. So, friend, use that, and they've got a lot of cool stuff.
Oh yeah, it's not just clothes.
Yeah,
it's a whole array of stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Friend. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Everybody say goodnight.
Good night.
See y'all next week.
Good night, friends.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Everybody.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
Son of a biscuit eater.